Hey folks, my name is Jürgen, aka and I'm proud of it, and Destiny has brought you to my channel today, so I can give you a complete, ultimate guide to the print run of Antiquities Artist Proofs. There's a lot of speculation about the print run of Antiquities Artist Proofs, and I want to shed a little more light on that based on my conversations with the artists, with the original Magic the Gathering artists. I was lucky enough to talk to a few of them, and I normally always ask if I have the chance about the print run of Antiquities Artist Proofs. We know the general print run of Antiquities. Antiquities has about 15 million cards printed. The lower end are the uncommon ones, which have about 31,000 cards of each, and the other ones are 63,000, and then it goes up and up. I think Antiquities is the best set in Magic the Gathering. There, I said it. And I love to collect the set. I have a complete Antiquities set. Only one. I'm not a greedy man. I'm happy with it. I have a few extra cards here and there. But it's getting more and more difficult to complete my Artist Proof set, which I am working on as well. And I was wondering why I see some cards showing up a lot and some of the Artist Proofs of Antiquities are super hard to get or super rare. Obviously, I run into problems getting more and new Antiquities Artist Proofs because I'm looking for the more high-end cards now. Think about a Mishra's Workshop or an Argivian Archaeologist. Those are very hard to get and very expensive. I might never get them. Some of you out there actually say there is no chance to complete an Antiquities Artist Proof set because some cards simply do not exist because the artist threw them away, or they are like lost, or they never were produced, or something like that. I think the Golgathian Silex is one of those cards that everybody thinks is not available on the market anywhere as an Artist Proof. Hercules Recall, I think there are only 2 or 3 copies known in existence, which of course is not a very high number. Think of the One Ring, which is a serialized card that went for 2 million, then think of a Hercules Recall that only has like 3 copies out there. And some people say Artist Proofs are not real Magic the Gathering cards. But the interesting fact about Antiquities Artist Proofs is that it is the first Artist Proof set out there that actually is printed on more or less real Magic the Gathering cards. The Alpha and the Beta, more the Beta, had an Artist Proof set, which we call the first edition Artist Proofs, and they are actually printed on the Collector's Edition or Ice Edition print paper sheets, how you want to call it, I don't know, but you know what I mean. And they actually have rectangle, like really square corners. And the Antiquities cards do have normal Magic the Gathering corners, normal Magic the Gathering front, and the back is white, blank. And on that blank backside of the card, the artists normally draw something, and that is a very, very cool thing. I'm lucky enough to own a few Artist Proofs with actual paintings on them, actual really nice drawings, and that is what I'm going for. Some people asked me why there is why there are so many of a certain Artist Proof from Antiquities available and so few of others. And I was wondering about that as well, because normally the general impression is that artists get 50 of each Artist Proof. And sometimes it's a little more, sometimes a little less, but 50 is the number everybody thinks is a very common thing for the artists to get from their Artist Proofs or of their Artist Proofs. For Antiquities, it is a little different. I was under the impression that there were only 50 of each card. In the beginning, I was saying this in my videos. This is common belief. Then I found out that actually there are more cards in existence, at least of certain Antiquities cards. And I will let you know throughout the video which Antiquities cards. I'm probably going to say Antiquities about 5 million times in this video, but that's okay. Of which Antiquities cards I expect there to be more, and of which Antiquities cards I expect not a lot to be out there. And we know there are different rarities in Antiquities, and these rarities, of course, have influence on the artist proofs as well, most probably. At least that is my assumption, and that is what I want to explain to you. It's not that we had 50 print sheets printed of the artist proofs, cut up, sent to the artists, and then that's it. For Antiquities, it was a little different. I talked to several Magic the Gathering artists, original Magic the Gathering artists, about their Antiquities artist proofs. And some of them told me, oh, I got many of this card, and no, this one is sold out. And I was like, yeah, how's that possible? If you get 50 of each card, is of course, some cards are more desired than others, but it's really weird that you have so many. How many do you have? And the most info I got out of Maddocks, which of course is my favorite artist, and I was able to speak to him recently, and we in detail talked about Antiquities as well before and this time as well. And I talked to Jesper Meerfors, who was the art director at the time, who couldn't answer me how many there were exactly, but he confirmed there was a different amount. And then, like a couple of not years, maybe 1 or 2 years ago already, I talked to Jeff Mangus, and I asked him as well. And all these videos are up on the channel. I have a playlist which is called MTG Talks, or TCG Talks, Trading Card Game Talks, because I sometimes talk about sorcery with artists as well. That's why I called it TCG Talks. And you can watch those. But Jeff Mangus told me, like, hey, I got the impression, and from what I remember from back in the day, because I have a lot of my artist proofs, and definitely more than 50, I think it has to do with the print sheets and the amount of times the cards appear on the Antiquities print sheets. And I have to look it up, because obviously I roughly know the numbers. We had 2 print sheets for Antiquities, but I'm going to look it up as well. We had a common print sheet and an uncommon print sheet. And both print sheets actually had 121 cards, which is 11 by 11. That means the common print sheet had 121 cards, and the uncommon print sheet had 121 cards. We had about 15 million Antiquities cards printed. A booster pack consisted of 8 cards, 6 of them common from the common sheet, and 2 of them uncommon from the uncommon sheet. So the uncommon sheet originally has been printed a lot less than the common sheet. And I actually believe this is the case for the artist proofs as well, in a much smaller scale, of course. I'm gonna check out what the print correlation is before I go into a little more detail, and before I give you a calculation about what I think is a realistic number for every Antiquities artist proof. I hope the recording doesn't stop here, otherwise I have to pick it up again, because sometimes it does that. We had the common sheet with 121 cards, and it contained 28 different cards with 11 cards appearing only once. Those are called C1, common 1. We had 5 cards that appeared twice, which is a very odd and weird number, but it probably fit on the print sheets like that are called C2. And we had 25 cards, which are C4, and all of those appeared 4 times on the common sheet. So that means that some cards appeared very, very often just on the common sheet. And for the uncommon sheet, we had 121 slots as well, 11 by 11, and it contained 37 different cards, with 26 cards appearing once, U1, which are considered rare, and there are only 31,000 in existence of these cards, which is not a lot if you consider that more like 50 million people, more than 15 million people play Magic the Gathering. 30,000 cards is not a lot. And some people have a playset of a certain card, and yeah, then it diminishes very quickly. I mean, that's not even 8,000 playsets of a certain rare uncommon 1 Antiquities card. And we had 4 cards appearing twice, which is called U2, uncommon 2. And we had 29 cards appearing 3 times, which is uncommon 3. And I think 31,000, 63,000, and 93,000 is the print run number it comes out to, right? We could look this up, but roughly around that amount for the uncommons, which technically are the rares as well. So that said, we're gonna have a look at the actual cards, and I'm gonna base my calculations on the numbers I got from Anson Maddocks, Jeff Mangus, and Jesper Meerfors about certain cards they have in their possession. And that, for me, helps me to like figure out how many of the print sheets actually were produced. Because like I said, and like Jeff Mangus and Anson Maddocks more or less confirmed to me from what they know from back in the day, they just printed a certain amount of Antiquities print sheets with a blank backside, cut these up, and sent those to the artists. And as we know, it's a little more than 50 for the uncommon ones. I would assume like 75. But for the common force, C4, so the commons that appear 4 times on the common sheet, I specifically asked Anson last time I met him, and he said he has about at least 400 or 500 of these common cards. He even said like, hey, maybe it's even more than 500-600. But not a lot, but around that range. So if we consider around 600 of the common force in existence, which is confirmed by one of the original artists who has his box and counted them with the common force, then it's very simple. If they appear 4 times on a print sheet, we at least had 150 print sheets for the commons. And that would mean, if we have a look at it, which is very, very interesting, of course. Let's see where we are. If we have a look at the commons, I'm going to put up the print sheets here and there throughout the video, and I'm going to put up the commons and the distribution of the commons. The C1 rarity we forget now. And the C2 rarity as well. But if we look at the C4 rarity, we have the Amulet of Croak, the Argivian Blacksmith, Argothian Pixies, Argothian Treefolk, Artifact Plast, Artifact Possession, Artifact Ward, Atok, Battering Ram, Clay Statue, Crumble, Trufnas Restoration, Dragon Engine, Grapeshot Catapult, Orcish Mechanics, Ornithopter, Phyrexian Gremlins, Priest of Yawgmoth, Reconstruction, Reverse Polarity, Sage of Latnam, Staff of Segan, Tablet of Epityr, Urza's Chalice, and Jotun's Soldier. I know for a fact that Anson has about 600 of the reconstructions. He has about 600 of the dragon engines, so that would fit. That means if we have around 150, and of course they roll out the print sheets, so maybe it's 152, maybe it's 148, maybe it's 161. You never know. But let's consider, or let's keep an average of about 150 print sheets for the common sheet. That means we have about of the Urza's Mine, A, B, C, D, and one of the Urza's towers. We have about 100 because they appear 300. No. Make it complicated. We have about 300 because they appear 2 times on the print sheet. And if we have 150 print sheets of the common print sheet, then we have 300 copies of Urza's Mine, all 4. Oh no, that's Power Plant. Urza's Mine, C and D, Urza's Power Plant, A and C, and Urza's Tower A. So that's 300. And then we have the C1 rarity, which is a cursed wreck, the Felden's Cane. I was looking for that one for quite a while, so I don't believe there are a lot of those. The Mishra's Factory, A, Strip Mine A, Urza's Mine A, Urza's Mine B, Urza's Power Plant B, Urza's Power Plant D, Urza's Tower B and C and D. That means we have about 150 of those, which makes sense as well, because especially if I have a look on my artist proofs from Mark Tedin, he numbers them on the back, like with pencil. And I got a couple that are between the 100 and 150 range. I will see if I can put a picture up of those as well. Or a little video I just film and then put in there as well. Just to confirm my assumptions, not only confirmed by the artists, but also by the numbers on the cards I have, by the numbers of the cards I see out there, and so on and so on. I honestly believe that it's very, very likely that we have around 150 print sheets of the common one printed for Antiquities Artist Proofs. How many reached the artists? How many copies were destroyed in the meanwhile? How many copies were thrown away because people thought it's not a real Magic card? I don't know. But I can say for a fact that cards like Dragon Engine, Reconstruction, Urza's Chalice from Jeff Mangus, these kind of cards, the Battering Ram from Jeff Mangus, these two artists, Steph and Anson, have a lot of those, around 600, and they confirmed that. So, not unrealistic to assume it's about 150 of the common sheet. If we go to the uncommon sheet, we got the uncommon 1 rarity, which is cards like the Argivian Archaeologist, Candelabra of Taurus, of course, Clockwork Avian, Colossus of Sardia, and yeah, where is it? The Mishra's Workshop. All these kind of cards are very, very rare. Urza's Mitre is on there as well. So like the uncommon 1 rarity is the rarest antiquity card there is, with about 31,000 printed for the regular ones. And I will tell you what I think the uncommon sheet amount is printed. Then we got the uncommon 2 rarity, which has our Armageddon Clock, Ashnod's Altar, which is one of Anson's as well. And he said, yeah, I might have about 100 to 150 of those, which gave me a good indication as well for the uncommon sheet. And the Ashnod's Battle Gear and the Jellum Tomb. And then we got uncommon 3, which means these cards are appearing 3 times on the uncommon sheets. And again, cards like Power Artifact from Anson Maddocks, Haunting Wind from Jeff Mangus, are giving me a good indication. The Citadel Druid from Jeff Mangus is on here, are giving me a good indication about the amount of the uncommon sheet, because I don't think they have printed the uncommon sheet 150 times, to be honest, because I don't believe, and from what I've heard as well from artists, that cards like the Argivian Archaeologist or Hercules Recall or Golgathian Silex or even a Mishra's Workshop appear that often as an artist proof. I know for a fact that it's more than 50. I first assumed it's 50 because that was the number everybody was agreeing upon, and that's the number from moving forward from Antiquities was more or less the amount of copies artists got for their artist proofs. Then I found out that of some cards there are definitely more than 50, because some people own 50 cards of a certain card, which is crazy to me, which is hoarding. And I hope one day they at least let go 1 or 2 of those cards so I can complete my set. But fair enough, they were early, they love a certain card, and yeah, let's face it as well, some people want to corner the market. It is what it is. That's Magic the Gathering for you, and that's a shame, especially if you're a collector and if you collect a niche thing like the Antiquities Artist Proofs. But yeah, it is what it is. Everybody can buy them, and if you have enough money, or if you are early enough and jumping on the bandwagon, then yeah, then it's very simple. You're lucky, or you're smart, and then you can sell them for whatever you want to sell them. And that's the problem, of course, with cornering the market. From what I have seen, from what I've heard from what I calculate, especially from cards like Ashnod's Altar and cards like, I said, where is it? Haunting Wind and the Citadel Druid, from which I roughly know from the artists how much they had. I assume we have about 75 copies printed of the uncommon sheet of Antiquities Artist Proofs, which means of the uncommon one we have about 75 copies. Maybe it's 100. Would be a little more. That would mean of the Ashnod's Altar, if it's 75, we have about 150 copies, which matches with what Anson told me. Of the Citadel Druid, we have about 225 copies, because it appears 3 times on the uncommon sheet. Of the Haunting Wind as well, which is, I think, what Jeff A. Menges told me, around 200, 225. That doesn't seem too unrealistic. And then again, how many have been miscut, how many have been thrown away, how many have reached the artists. Some artists didn't really like artist proofs. I think it's very fair to say that we didn't have more than 100 of these, but more likely, and we had more than 50 of these, so it's more likely in the 75 range, which would make sense. Maybe somebody decided, let's print 75 of the uncommon sheet, 150 of the common sheet, and let's go with that. What that means for you folks, let's see. Let's jump back to my video here. More than 20 minutes, but I think it's an interesting conversation. What that means for your Antiquities Artist Proofs is not that some of them are super easy to get, because let's face it, even if we have 150 sheets printed for the common Artist Proofs from Antiquities, cards like Reconstruction only exist 600 times. That's, on the grand scale of Magic the Gathering, that's nothing. I think it's fair to say that, especially the Antiquities Artist Proofs, because of the fact that they were the first ones, because of the fact they are pretty sought after, which, like I explained, I see the market drying up. It's crazy. I haven't seen a new Artist Proofs I'm still missing on the market, even if I can't afford it, but I haven't even seen one on the market in several months. And that's worrying. Because maybe there won't be any anymore. Maybe I'm not getting rid of mine, and I got a couple. And I got a couple of duplicates here and there as well, which I hope to be able to trade down the road against the ones I do not have. Because if there are collectors out there that are missing a certain card, for example the Urza's Mitre, I got 2 of those. So that means I got a duplicate. I think I bid on one and accidentally won it when the hype wasn't there, and I already had one. And I thought, like, hey, that would be cool, then I can send one off to the artist, because Randy Epsilon Faith, I think he's called, does not have the Urza's Mitre anymore in his collection. It's sold out. And he only accepts or does a painting on the Urza's Mitre if you provide him the card, because he doesn't have it himself anymore. So I thought, like, yeah, then I have one in my binder. If anything goes wrong with sending out the card, I still have one. And I bid on the second one, I won it. But okay, Randy doesn't even take commissions at the moment, because he's booked up for eternity, which is the case for most original Magic the Gathering artists, which is a shame, because I would love to get a few paintings on my Artist Proofs I have. And I have a few with paintings, which I'm very lucky about. I had to wait for a long time, but yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to get that binder filled with more art from the original Magic the Gathering artists, from the original Antiquities artists. But doesn't matter. I got an extra one, so maybe I can trade it down the road against, I don't know, what is the other uncommon one? Like, maybe, I don't know, what am I still missing here? The Obelisk of Undoing. I don't know if I have that one, or the Tetrabus, or the Tornus's Coffin. Yeah, that's a different story, because everything Christopher Rush is extremely difficult to get anyways. If you want to get a signed Artist Proof from Christopher Rush, You have to pay crazy money. So there's that factor as well, that Christopher Rush unfortunately has passed away, and his cards and his signatures exploded in price because people obviously love his art. He's one of the most famous Magic the Gathering artists, as he has painted the Black Lotus, which is one of the most recognized cards in the game, obviously, and some other very, very big cards are from Christopher Rush. I'm lucky to have one artist proof from Christopher from Antiquities. I'm looking for more, so let's see how I do with that. But yeah, let's summarize, folks. And I'm not gonna drag this out. It's probably been a very boring video for a lot of you. I shouldn't say that because I think it's not boring at all. I tried to explain it calmly, and maybe it comes across boring. That's the better way to phrase it, because I don't think it's boring. I think it's super interesting. It took me years and years to talk to the artists, years to have the print run of certain cards confirmed by the artists, years of finding out that certain cards appear more than 50 times, even if they are uncommon 1, then they still are super rare, but maybe there's more than 50 out there, roughly 75. So I think it's a super interesting subject, and I honestly think as the first real Magic the Gathering artist proofs, I love the first edition artist proofs. I have one from Anson Maddocks. I might have 2. The other one I haven't shown because it's a bit personal, but I have 2 of the first edition artist proofs, and I've shown you one of my favorite Magic the Gathering cards, the two-headed giant Anson drew for me, so I'm very happy with that one. But I'm not gonna get into the first edition artist proofs because it's a crazy world, obviously. Those are extremely rare, and Antiquities either way is a set that appeals to me more than Alpha, Beta, or Unlimited. I love Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. Trying to complete my Unlimited set as well, which I'm very, very passionate about, but I love Antiquities more, so I'm going after those. And it took me a very long time to confirm these numbers. And I think I might be off here and there a couple of sheets, which in the case of the common sheet, if I'm off 10 sheets, that's 40 copies more for the C4s. So if there are not 150 but 160 printed because somebody didn't put stop right away, hit stop right away, then it's not 600 but 640 cards, you know, if there are 10 sheets more. So it can escalate pretty quickly. But in the end, I honestly think the numbers are not unrealistic. And that means the first expansion, by the way, because Arabian Nights didn't have any artist proofs, and the first real Magic the Gathering card artist proof, which are printed as real Magic the Gathering cards, simply without the print on the back, and feel like a Magic the Gathering card, are something that, or these cards are something that's extremely, extremely rare and collectible, in my opinion. And I've been preaching this for a couple of years, which is a problem now for me, because some people jumped on this, because they agreed and they noticed, and yeah, they are collecting those things now as well. So yeah, 75 uncommon print sheets, which means we got around 75 of the Mishra's Workshop, 75 of the Urza Smiter, these kind of cards, and about 150 of the common print sheet, which means some of the commons, the ones that appear only once, are pretty rare as well. Not as rare as they are, of course, or as common as they are in the regular print run, because the common sheet obviously has been printed many times more than the uncommon sheet. That's why the difference is so big of the cards available out there. But yeah, 150 artist proofs of cards like, let's see, the Cursed Track, the Felden's Cane, one of the Strip Mines, one of the Mishra's Factories. Folks, that's not a lot. So even some of the commons are pretty hard to get. I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely did. It took me a long time to make it, not only 30 minutes to record, but also I wanted to have a close look at each card and how often it was printed on the print sheet. So I had a look at the print sheet, had a look at the numbers, checked what the artists told me about the high numbers of the comments, some of the comments they got, and since particularly mentioned Dragon Engine, which he said I have a lot of those, several hundred, maybe 500-600, and I was like, wow, okay, that means then we probably got around 150 print sheets. So yeah, it's a subject that's very close to my heart. I still hope somebody out there sees this and thinks, hey, this is good information. And I still hope as well somebody out there sees this and says, hey Jürgen, you are actually looking for certain Antiquities cards. I have a few artist proofs you're still missing. Let me help you out. Let's look for a trade. Let's look for a buy, whatever. That would be awesome, because I actually really would love to get a little further with the Antiquities set. And in the meanwhile, while you think about Antiquities, I hope you stay healthy. I hope you stay frosty. Leave me a like, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about this conversation. It might not be for everybody, but I think it needs to be documented, and I'm happy I'm the one who can do it. Stay healthy, stay frosty. Bye, folks.